Hello and welcome back everyone. This week I take a fresh look at Alien 3 on the Super Nintendo. This was a game I avoided for several reasons. The first one being it was pretty expensive back in the day at £60 in UK stores. The second reason was that it looked pretty boring. And the third one was down to personal reasons. I had been put off by movie tie-ins massively since the days of the Commodore 64. Games like Cobra, which to be fair would put anyone off movie tie-ins, was crap. Robocop was unfinished, and in a lot of cases the game had very little to do with the movie, and that feels the case here with this game. Alien 3 was not the most successful film in the franchise. It kind of went back to its roots, in that a bunch of unarmed humans had to fend off a single alien. But in this game, Ripley has a massive arsenal at her disposal and sees the player take control of her as she welds this or fixes that or destroys alien nests. And that's pretty much the entire game, spread over various sub-levels in 6 stages, all of which look too similar, and when you watch it, you can't really tell what level the person is on. The depressing elements don't stop there. This game has this background music that just irritates after 5 minutes. The levels have this maze-like quality, but yet you don't get a map to see where you are going or where you are, and quite frankly, if you play it for 5 minutes, then you have pretty much seen everything this game has to offer. A big dollop of dreariness served on a grey plate. There are some positives though. The visuals are really good. The animation on Ripley when she runs or squat walks is great, as is the shimmy swing thing she does. All of the aliens are excellently animated as well, and the same goes for the facehuggers. I think maybe too much effort was put into the visuals instead of making a decent game. But as great as the visuals are, there is some strange stuff going on in the background. In some scenes, as Ripley shoots hordes of aliens and facehuggers, you can see the prisoners just milling around in the background as if it's a normal day, and it just looks a little daft. One thing that does not look daft is the presentation. The recreation of the movie intro is fantastic here, and I think the sound has been lifted straight from the film. It sounds really clear and crisp, and every time I seen this intro in the Games Master section of Comet, I thought it looked superb. But the problem was, the rest of the game just looked dire. The sound of the repetitive music is of a good quality, as is the pulse rifle sound, the flamethrower, the grenade, and even the alien screeches as they get blown away. But unfortunately, this is another example of good sound and visuals masking a pretty dull game. The gameplay is very tedious indeed. As I said, it's pretty much the same thing each stage, except the difficulty ramps up each time, and after 5 minutes the game just becomes more of a chore. Other things I found frustrating with the gameplay was, well, this floaty anti-gravity jump of Ripley's. You could just jump over aliens and facehuggers to avoid them. But when it came to all that platformy jumpy stuff I do so despise, it became so frustrating due to this floaty nature. And when you just jump without moving, Ripley barely moves. Yeah, I had a hard time trying to like this game, indeed. Something else that is worth a mention, in terms of frustration, is the controls. Ripley does this sort of crouched walk, but to activate it you have to press down, and it sort of locks Ripley in that crouch position, and then you move left or right. It's not very intuitive, and I think had the developers just opted to do a diagonal down, right or left, it would have been far better. Back in my school days, I never knew a single soul that bought or hired this game, and absolutely no one ever played it. I think the magazines liked it. If I remember rightly, they were giving it scores of 93% or something. But its biggest problem by a country mile was the version of Alien 3 on the Mega Drive, which looked a lot better and a lot faster. But that will be a video for another time. In closing, Alien 3 on the Super NES is not a game I can recommend. Not unless you don't mind doing the same thing over and over again, while listening to the same boring soundtrack for hours at a time. But hey, if that's your bag, then go right ahead. And that was my look at Alien 3 on the Super Nintendo. If you like this video, then please do all the usual like, comment and subscribe malarkey. And a massive thank you to everyone who has done so already. It really is appreciated. And that's all from me folks. Thanks for watching.